Hello, and welcome to Lesson 6. Today we'll be talking about rules for adding and mental parentheses. So let's go ahead and get started. This lesson is going to be a continuation from our Lesson 5. So to begin with, just a quick review on what we learned already. Recall that yesterday we were looking at how to add numbers given their signs. So if I had something like 3 minus 2 plus 4, and I'm trying to add this all up, we said yesterday that one way to do it is to break this down into the individual numbers with their corresponding signs. So the first individual number is this 3, which means there's an invisible plus sign here. So we have a positive 3. We place that in parentheses, and we add that with the next number. And the next number is this, a negative 2. We then add that to the third number, this number, which is a positive 4. And then we went and used our number line to correspondingly move to the left or to the right the same number of units as the absolute values of these numbers, and depending upon whether they're positive or negative, until we arrived at a solution for this problem. Well, today we're not going to use the number line. We're going to be graduating from the number line, yay, and we'll be moving on to more of a mental routine here, all right? So we'll be adding this up mentally rather than going through the very explicit and rather tedious method of using the number line. So let's take a look at how this is going to pan out. If we have two numbers and we're going to add them together, we have one of 4 possible scenarios. We could have a positive number, such as the positive number positive 2, and we could be trying to add that to a negative number, maybe a negative 3. All right, so we have the signs are different. We have a positive and we have a negative. We could also have the possibility of having a negative 2 being added to a positive 3. So once again, we have different signs. We have a negative sign and we have a positive sign. The other 2 scenarios are going to deal with signs that are the same. So we could have a positive 2, and we could add that to a positive 2, for example. Here the signs are the same. They're both positive. I could also have a negative 4, and I could add this to a negative 4. Again, the signs are the same. These are the only 4 possible scenarios. Obviously, the numbers could be different. We have an infinite number of choices for the numbers. But as far as the signs go, these are the only 4 possible scenarios. Either the signs are going to be different, or the signs are going to be the same. All right? So, thinking of it in terms of that, what we really need to develop are a couple of rules so that we know what to do when the signs are the same and what to do when the signs are different. So let's first talk about rule number 1. If the signs are the same, simply add the absolute value of the numbers and keep the sign. So think of it in terms of if the signs here are the same. So we have we have a positive 2 and a positive 2. If the signs are the same, they agree with each other. Life is wonderful. Everybody agrees. The signs are positive. And if that's true, then our answer is going to be a positive answer. Its sign is going to be the same as the 2 addends within the sum. All right. Likewise, if both signs are negative, they're still the same. This is a negative, this is a negative, they're still the same. Life is wonderful. Everybody agrees. So the answer has to agree too. So the answer is also going to be a negative. All right. So once again, if the signs are the same, just carry that sign all the way through to the answer. Easy. That is rule number 1. So let's try a couple examples. If I have a positive 4 and I want to add that to a positive 5, what's going to happen? The signs are the same, so we'll keep that sign in our answer. It's going to be a positive. Now all we need to do is add the absolute value of the numbers. Now it sounds kind of tedious to say all this, but essentially we're looking at this positive 4 and we're saying what's the absolute value of a positive 4? And the answer is it's a 4. What's the absolute value of positive 5? It's a 5. So now we can take this 4 plus the 5, and we're going to get 9, right? A positive 9. Positive because the signs are both positive. 9 because the absolute values of the numbers add up to 9. All right? Pretty straightforward. Let's just try one more. Make sure that you've got this part down. This part should be easy. If I have a negative 3 and I'm adding that to a negative 8, what's going to happen here? Once again, we look at the signs to figure out what the sign of our answer is going to be. And the sign is going to be what? Well, they're both negative, right? They agree. Life is wonderful. They both agree that it's negative, so we're going to keep that negative in the answer. Now we need to take the absolute value of these two numbers. So the absolute value of a negative 3 is a 3. The absolute value of a negative 8 is an 8. We'll add those two absolute values together to get 11, thus getting the answer negative 11. All right, now let's take a look at the scenario where the signs are actually different. This one is a little bit more complicated, but overall, I think it's pretty straightforward. So let's take an example. Well, let's read the definition here first. If the signs are different, take the difference of the absolute values of the numbers, and then use the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. All right, so that may sound a little complicated. Let's take an example. If I have negative 4, and I want to add that to a positive 6. All right. First thing we note is that the signs are different. They don't agree. Life is not wonderful. They don't agree with each other. All right. So then the question is, well, what sign should I use in my answer? To determine that, you need to look at these two numbers and determine which of them is stronger. All right. The two are going to battle it out for the right to have their sign put into the answer. All right. And if they're going to battle it out, the stronger one is going to win. So which one's the stronger one? The one that's stronger is the one with the greater value, or the greater absolute value. All right. So what's the absolute value of a negative 4? It's a 4. What's the absolute value of a 6? It's a 6. Which one is greater? Well, the 6 is greater. Therefore, we are going to use the 6's sign. All right, which is a positive. So we're going to use a positive sign in the answer. So the greater one always wins. All right. Now we have to figure out what the number is, though. It comes at a cost. These two battled it out. The 6 won because he's stronger. But he does get damaged. Some of his power gets removed. As a matter of fact, the power that gets removed is equivalent to the absolute value of the number that he's up against. All right. I know it's silly to think of it like this, but it does help sometimes. All right. So if the 6 is the powerful one, he battles it out with the 4. Well, the 4 is going to do his best to win, and he's going to end up stripping the 6 of 4 units. So in a sense, we're taking the difference of the two numbers, the two absolute value numbers. Remember, difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So if we're taking the difference between these two, what is 6 minus 4? 6 minus 4 is 2. So that 2 is what we're going to use as our answer. All right? So when signs are different, they battle it out. Life is not good. Okay? And they battle it out. The one that's stronger wins, the one with the greatest absolute value. He's the one that wins the right to use his sign in the answer. But he gets damaged. Whatever he's up against gets subtracted from him. And that is going to be the number. All right? It's kind of fun, isn't it? All right, let's try again. So let's say we've got another one. Let's say we have 9, positive 9, plus a negative 11. What's going to happen here? Well, first off, once again, we recognize that the signs are different. So there's going to be a battle. Which of them is the stronger one? Well, the absolute value of a 9 is a 9. The absolute value of a negative 11 is an 11. So the 11 is the stronger one. So we're going to use his sign. His sign is the minus sign, the negative sign. So that's the sign we're going to use in our answer. but he gets damaged. We take the difference of these two numbers. So we take the larger number, we subtract the smaller number from it. 11 minus 9 is 2, so our answer is -2. All right? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Those are the two basic rules for adding signed numbers. All right? If you can get these two rules down so that they become second nature to you, you'll find that you can do these problems without hardly even thinking. It'll be second nature. Be like breathing. All right? So let's try a couple more. Oh, actually, before we do that, though, we'll take this one step further. Let's remember how to add parentheses into these problems. So here, I have a problem where I do not have any of the parentheses, but we can add them. Remember, in algebra, we're going to consider everything as being added together. So we need to break these up into their individual numbers. So the first step is to place them in their parentheses, including the signs that go with them. So this 3 is a positive 3. We'll put it in parentheses. We're always going to be adding. Add the next number to that, we're going to add the positive 4. Add the next number to that, that's a -2. Add the next number to that, it's a -4. And we add the last number to that, which is a positive 6. And there we go. We have all of our numbers with all of their signs being added together. Now, eventually, the next step in this learning process is we'll be able to do this without putting in these parentheses. We'll be mentally putting these parentheses in. All right, but this is still good practice to write it out like this until you've got this down. So now, once again, we're going to take this step by step. And I should probably point out here, this is a good place to do this. When we're talking addition, it doesn't matter what order we do it in. Okay, when we have a bunch of things like this that are being added, you can do it in any order you'd like, which means we can start from the left-hand side and say, okay, let's just start by adding these two together. And we'll get some answer. And then we'll take that answer and add it to this next number. Take that answer and add it to the next number. And the same thing, add that to the third number or the last number. All right, that's one way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, you could say, you know what? I'm going to take the last two numbers and I'm going to start with these two first. I'm going to take a positive 6 and I'm going to add it to a -4 first. And then I'm going to take the answer to that and add it to a -2. And I'm going to work from the right to the left. That's totally acceptable too. Some people will find that it can be easier to pick and choose a little bit and say, well, you know what? I'm going to add up all my positive, all of these guys. I'm going to add up all my positive numbers first, and then I'll add up all my negative numbers, and then I'll take those two and combine them and do it that way. It's totally fine. Whichever way you would like to do it, you feel free to do it that way. This actually has a name. We call it the commutative property of addition. All right? All right. For right now, let's just work from left to right. That might seem the most intuitive. So let's go ahead and do this. So we have a positive 3 plus a positive 4. They both have the same sign. That's great. They're going to agree. The answer is going to have a positive in it. And then 3 plus 4 is 7. Now we have a positive 7. This part is done. We have a positive 7. We're adding to that a -2. The signs do not agree. We have a positive and we have a negative. The 7 is the greater of the two, so we're going to have a positive answer. So it's going to be a positive. And then we take the difference. What's 7 minus 2 is 5. So we end up with a positive 5. So now this one's done. Now we take the positive 5 and we add to it a -4. A positive 5 plus a -4. The signs don't agree. The greater number is 5, or the stronger number is 5. So we're going to use his sign, which is a positive, and then we'll take the difference of the two. So 5 minus 4 is 1. So there we go. We're done with him. Now we have a positive 1 plus a positive 6. The signs agree, so our answer is going to be positive. And 1 plus 6 is 7, so we get a plus 7 as our final answer. All right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. Why don't you pause the video here and try some of these on your own and make sure that you've got this down. We will do these together just to make sure. All right, so let's see how you did. So to begin with, we start by putting everything in parentheses. So we have our plus 4, our positive 4, and then we're adding a negative 6, and then we're adding a positive 2, and another positive 3, and then finally adding a negative 7. All right. And for this one, just to shake things up a bit, let's start on the right side and we'll go to the left. So we have a negative 7 on the right, and we're adding that to a positive 3. So the signs are different. So we're going to subtract the numbers and keep the sign from the stronger number. So the stronger number is the 7. So we have a negative answer, and 7 minus 3 is 4. All right, so that takes care of these two. Now we have this negative 4, and we're adding it to a positive 2. Signs are different. 4 is stronger, so we'll have the negative sign. And then we subtract the 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then that takes care of the positive 2. Whoop. Oh, my pen is going goofy here. That takes care of the positive 2. And now we move on to the next number. So we have a negative 2 plus a negative 6. The signs are the same, so we're going to keep that sign. And we add the two numbers. Notice the difference. We're adding when the signs are the same. We're subtracting when the signs are different. All right, so we add the two numbers to get an 8. So now we have our negative 8, and then we're going to add to that the positive 4. Signs are different. Larger number is the 8, which means we're going to have a negative answer. And then 8 minus 4 is 4. So our final answer is a negative 4. All right. Now on this next one, let's just try something a little bit different. Let's try by first, rewriting it. We'll say positive 8 plus a positive 3 plus a negative 5 plus a positive 2 plus a negative 6 plus a positive 1. Now here, why don't we start by just selecting our negative numbers, which would be this one. Whoops, I won't cover up our positive sign there. There we go. So this one, and then we have another negative over here. Let's combine those two. So we have a negative 5. We'll add that to the negative 6. The signs are the same. We add the numbers. So we end up with a negative 11, right? And then we will add up all of our positives. So we have a positive 8, right? Adding that to this 3, signs are the same. So we're going to have 8 and 3 is 11. 11 and a positive 2 is going to give us a positive 13. Positive 13 and a positive 1 is a positive 14. So we end up with a positive 14 here for all of our positive numbers. Now we can combine these two. And what do we get? Well, we get the negative 11 plus 14. So the signs are different. The stronger number is 14. So we'll use that sign, positive. And then we subtract the two numbers. So 14 minus 11 is 3. So we end up with a positive 3 for this expression. All right? So we've done this in a couple different ways now. We've done it by going from left to right, from right to left, and then this last one we did by just pulling out the negative numbers and combining those, and then pulling out the positive numbers, combining those, and then combining the two together. And just to show you that you would get the same answer, we'll do it again, only just mentally. We have a positive 8 and a positive 3 is 11. An 11 and a negative 5, positive 11, negative 5, it's going to be a positive 6. Positive 6 and a positive 2 is a positive 8. A positive 8 and a negative 6, it's going to be a positive answer. 8 minus 6 is 2, so a positive 2. And a positive 2 and a positive 1 is a positive 3. So if we had done this problem by moving from left to right, we still would have ended up with the answer of a positive 3. And we could do the same thing going from right to left, or any other order that we choose. All right, very good. I think we'll just finish up by just concluding with a few more here. And I might, just for the sake of time, why don't we skip this one? We're going to go on to this one. Let's do this one. Actually, you know what? Let's skip that one too. Let's go on to this one. We're going to combine a few of our elements here. We'll throw a few absolute values in there. Go ahead and try this, see how you do, and then we'll do it together. All right, so let's see how you did here. We'll start by evaluating, or simplifying, I should say, the absolute values. So we have the absolute value of 5, positive 5, and we know that that is going to be a 5. Nothing really changes. So we'll just write that in parentheses as a positive 5. Then we're adding to that the next number, which is a positive 3. Adding to that our negative 4. Adding to that our positive 7. And adding to that our negative 3. So we've kind of divided everything up now, sorted everything out, you might say. And now we'll add them up. And we'll go left to right on this one. So we have positive 5, positive 3. What's that going to give us? Positive 8, right? So we have a positive 8. Now a positive 8 plus a negative 4. We have a positive and a negative 4. So signs are different. What's that going to give us? Positive 4, right? And then we have a positive 4 plus a positive 7. Signs are the same. That's going to give us a positive 11. Positive 11 plus a negative 3. Signs are different. The stronger is a positive. So we're going to have a positive answer. 11 minus 3 is 8. All right? Very good. Try this next one, and then we'll do it again together. All right, so let's see how you did. So once again, we'll simplify the absolute value first. So we have, and maybe we'll just write this as a positive 2 right away here. Positive 2, right? Plus, now this absolute value of a negative 3 is what? A positive 3. So then we have plus a negative 4 plus a positive 6. All right, now we can go ahead and combine these to get to our solution. So we have a positive 2 plus a positive 3. That's going to be a positive 5. Positive 5 plus a negative 4. That's going to be a positive 1. Positive 1 plus a positive 6 is going to be a positive 7. So that is our solution. And I think this is probably a good place to stop. This is about as tricky as they're going to get for right now. We will be continuing with this though, and delving more into working with negative signs and addition in the following lessons. So good luck on your seat work, and I will see you tomorrow.